Got it. Good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting of the Capital Program Committee to order. It is Thursday, January 12th, a little bit after 10 a.m. Our meeting is being audio video recorded. Anything you say or broadcast will be shared on the town's YouTube. Please act accordingly. Any attachments we have are available through the town website. Materials were reviewed during the meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Richard,
Second.
on your motion.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Barry,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Next up is public comment. There being no members of the public here, we will not have public comment. Minutes, potential adoption of minutes from January 5th. Motion to adopt the minutes of January 5th.
So move.
So,
Richard, on your motion.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Barry,
aye.
and I abstain. We're going to jump right into, should be a relatively quick meeting, not to jinx ourselves. The FY24 capital request discussion. Discuss, deliberate, and vote on funding sources and revisions to request amounts, and the report writing work group updates kind of just in one little bundle. Sue, correct me if I got this wrong, but island-wide road improvements, there was a decrease in the maintenance of about $1 million. The request amount. Okay. Sconset Footbridge is going to be funded from FY23 appropriation.
Yes,
And the Silver Street parking is the work contemplated will be funded from an otherwise ongoing project.
correct.
Okay. So what I've asked is to have basically to have Sue add the change amount in the island-wide road improvements. Well, basically, this is what I'd like to have done. Ultimately, when we reflect a request, we reflect the request amount that was the initial amount. And then we reflect in the comments the initial amount of the town request. And then we reflect in the comment kind of as a history of developments or changes over the course of the budget review cycle, what the change is, and if it's attributed to something in particular. In these instances, they would be attributed to the brief discussion we just had. And then that way, and then our recommendation would coincide if we decide that we indeed agree with it. So unless there's any questions, let me just say, are there any questions on those three items? Okay, so I think it would be simpler just to go to a vote to accept the recommendation of town admin and finance department into our recommendation as a step one.
So move.
Okay, Richard, on your motion.
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Barry.
Aye.
Okay, so the second step will be that Richard, within the content, you would add to the comments for these particular requests, you would change the amount of the CapCon recommendation, and then you would add the respective comments into the column comments on Appendix A. For line by a line item basis for each of the requests. So for instance, Sconset Footbridge repairs is zeroed out in our recommendation. It's mentioned in the comments that it's currently being funded out of FY23 monies. And that's it. And I mean, you could put a nod. I mean, I guess it would help for clarification purposes to indicate that the TM and finance department final recommendation is that this is funded out of FY23 monies. And then similarly for the other three. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, great. So that addresses that matter. We're going to move on to the report writing work group update and review the rough draft of the report in its kind of constituent pieces. So I think, let me get an update. Appendix A has been reviewed for integrity of the data, the amounts, and also for layout, or just the content.
So the only thing with Appendix A is to now make those 3 changes you just mentioned.
Okay. So Appendix A, I would just suggest that since we're all very terribly familiar with it and the data hasn't otherwise changed, that we set that aside for the moment. Fair enough? Take a heads is fine. Okay. Appendix B, I believe, is the same. There is there will be some changes to funding source amounts, but there won't be, because of these changes, but there won't be any other changes, correct?
Appendix B is final. I already had those changes in there because since we did the funding sources based on the discussion with town administration and finance, I made the changes in schedule Appendix B. So I just did not change A because I wasn't sure what you wanted to do with those.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I'm actually looking at my notes now. I see that we went ahead with Appendix B, but not Appendix A.
Yeah.
So I would ask by a nod of heads to, given our familiarity with Appendix B and its content is settled,
Natalie Crop.
that we set that aside for a moment.
Okay.
Appendix C, Sue, would you mind bringing that up?
Yeah. I think
Take your time.
I have 100 things open and that one I can't. This is interesting. I don't know why C doesn't want to come up. Second. Yeah, I don't know why I cannot, I have it on my screen, but it doesn't want to. Oh, here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I just want to make my screen a little bit larger here.
I think I can go up a little more too. Better.
Okay, guys, so as you know, but just for the people at home, this is a recap of requests, current year requests, and showing what prior appropriations are expended in the balance. So it's kind of like a running tally looking back with respect to requests that are also currently included. I just note the code as we've set this up is alphanumeric to indicate the department, the year of the initial request, and then just the request number, which really has no bearing if you're looking at it as a reference, other than if you want to cross-reference it to something. This will be distributed, has been distributed to the group, other than the report writing group.
Yes, I sent it end of day yesterday. I was able to get it done. So yes.
Okay, so just procedurally, so you guys are aware, what we'll do is we'll vote this in as a group with the final.
Excuse me.
We'll do the same with Appendix A and Appendix B. And and unless there's questions or comments on this particular appendix, we'll set it aside for the moment. None? Okay. Sue, would you go ahead and please and bring up the body of the report?
I closed it.
Yeah, take-
Yeah, hold on 1 minute. I had to close it to get this one to work.
Yeah, I figured there was competing real estate on the screen.
Yeah, sometimes having 2 screens. Okay. Close that one. This time that worked far easier. Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Okay.
So I reviewed this with Richard. Great job. Thank you, Richard. And we're just going to flip through the pages. I don't necessarily think we need to go page by page.
Okay.
I wanted to go to the, so would you mind opening up the pages on the left side? Do you know how to do that? Yeah,
Ah,
perfect. So can we go to the down to number 5, please?
Yep.
It's number 5. Okay. So this is one of the tables that, and slide 4 that will pull from Sue will have provided us, thank you so much. The kind of a summary of, one of these is a summary of Appendix A and one of them is a summary of Appendix B. So I just wanted to, I don't want to get into, we can get into the dollar numbers. Nothing has changed other than the three that we just spoke about.
And
So-
those are already reflected in the tables I sent you. All the changes were made with the exception to Appendix A.
Right, nothing has changed with respect to what we voted on when we voted our preliminary up and downs, other than the three, and they're now reflected in these
Correct.
tables. What will happen is, there's two things I'd like to accomplish, just, it should take moments. One is to make sure that we're clear on who's doing what with respect to dragging these little tables in. Christy, that'll fall to you and layout into the Word document once Richard sends it to you. And I think Sue has volunteered to interface a little bit because these are a little bit finicky. The other ones that are finicky, can we scroll down to the tax impact table?
That one?
Yes, that's it. This one is terribly finicky. So you guys, I have full faith and confidence you can work it out. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that this one needs a little bit of work. And historically, when I'm trying to do it. That's very simple, just with respect to who's doing what with the layout. I want to say that I realize that there's perhaps an otherwise unnecessary bifurcation of the roles between content and layout. But it seemed that when I was developing the concept of the work group, that having three people involved in trying to assign discrete tasks, it just made sense to kind of have layouts separately. So Richard, you're kind of relieved of the duty of that, other than verifying the content of the tables as a team, double check.
Right, proofreading.
And then that and the Word version can go to Christy. And if you want to CC the group, the work group, that'd be great. Christy?
Yeah, Stephen, this page here, what is it specifically that makes it finicky? Is it just the layout and the margins and stuff like that?
Exactly. Between the columns, the layout and the margins, and then the rows of the project and purpose not jumping and getting overly tall. And then trying to fit the whole thing onto the enterprise accounts ratepayer impacts, keeping that on the table so you don't have to change the table of contents.
Looks like Sue has got that pretty well handled, with the, speak up, Sue, if I'm overstepping, but.
No, you're, so one of the things that Richard and I talked about before the meeting started is, so that currently the information you're looking at is last year's table. This year's table is smaller,
Mhm.
which is good news, which we will definitely be able to keep everything on the same page. I have not inserted it into the document yet. I'm certainly going to make an attempt to do that this afternoon. The only thing that I will ask is on some of the other tables, if I insert them and get them all squared away, that comments and footnotes that you guys take care of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to make an attempt to insert this table.
Okay, and then it doesn't, you guys are obviously involved and on top of it, so I'm not going to get involved in that aspect of scheduling that Jill would kind of be interfacing on. But just with respect to workflow, it'll go from Sue to Richard, Richard for content verification, Christy finalize layout. Once you get it done, print it to a PDF, and then we can send it back to Sue to be, for open meeting law, to be distributed as a draft. I think as long as you have, any questions on that one? No. I think as long as you have the appendices in a PDF format, it'd be great if you can interleave them into the document in order and so on and so forth, and then send that to Sue as a complete document. If for some reason you run into a problem, we can work around it, but I think that should be able to be done. I will forward to Sue the revised Appendix D, which shows the tax rate update. And I'll do that like tomorrow at some point. And it seems like with holiday Monday and maybe not, you guys have, not Sue, of course, but you guys have some time to kind of put it together and we'll have it for next week to vote on. Does that seem okay, Christie?
I was just gonna say, I'm away. I'm gonna be working on this a little remotely because I'm away from Monday till Friday. So I will be working on this somewhat remotely.
Okay, so
Right.
I'll get that out Friday, and it sounds like we're gonna have everything you need by, Sue, when do you think with what you're gonna send to Richard, timeline wise?
I'm hoping, I have some pressing things I have to finish for Brian and Libby this morning, and I'm hoping this afternoon I'll be able to work fully on this, so either end of day today or tomorrow morning. That's my
Okay.
goal.
No, fair enough. That's good. Just so the members can kind of budget their time during the day and over the weekend. So
It's-
that sounds great to me. I will get the, as I said, Appendix D over tomorrow morning and or tomorrow afternoon. It's just going to be interleaved into the body of the report. It's not a gating item of any sort.
It is very helpful when you whenever you send anything to put the word final. I know you've been doing that to clarify that it is the final
Mhm.
document for me to
Sure.
pick up.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate the feedback and I will do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Richard had suggested some modifications to the really updates, kind of stale information on the narrative body of summary and recommendations. But other than that, we're going to leave that portion of the report the same. And then one of the tasks we'll undertake later this winter is basically going through determining what modifications or enhancements we want to make and to those recommendations, but more importantly, looking at timelines to try and implement them and getting feedback from, of course, finance department and the town admin through town manager through the finance department. So just so you're aware of what's kind of coming down the pike. Sue, we will probably be asked about the SIP report that Rick was really working on and developing, and with transition and changes in where people are working within the town, I understand that hasn't really been a focus, at least not in our group discussions. But I'd like to maybe just speak with you offline and get an update on that. Between now and next Thursday.
Okay.
Nothing pressing there. And other than that, does anyone have any questions on the draft process or content? Okay. I'll just say that pinning down the funding sources and having this report kind of out of the, ready out of the can through Plum to some extent with the appendices, and certainly Sue's doing a lot of lifting here, has been very helpful to the work group. And as someone who did it individually myself, I'm going to thank you for the other members because they don't realize you've done a really great job, but it's been very helpful. I think that's the best way to say that.
2 thumbs up.
And other than that, we're going to just move on. Go to the order. I think, we're here, we're doing our job. Any comments? Okay.
Yeah.
Date of next meeting will be January 19th, 10 a.m. We will vote the final report as we've discussed. And other than that, I think it would be great if we could get a motion to adjourn.
So move.
So
Richard,
moved.
on your motion.
Aye.
Christie?
Aye.
Barry?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate the extra help.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take
Susan,
care.
is there a good time I can call you tomorrow just to go over some of these little tiny things that I need to update?
I'm free. I'm working all day.
What, maybe you call me when you're free?
I don't have anybody's numbers.
Okay,
so
I'll give you
what-
mine.
Sure.
I guess cell phone,
Wait,
917.
Let me stop the recording.
Okay.